I ran into you somewhere, and Rihanna hadn't. She had really never even been heard of at this point. And you walked up to me and you said, "That's my artist." And I was struck by that. I'd never forget those words. That's my artist. And you were proud, man. And you were like, "Wow, this is a discovery of mine." And then she exploded, and then she lit up. How hands-on are you in terms of managing her career?
Well, we actually manage her now. We didn't manage her in the beginning. I signed her as an artist on Def Jam.
How'd you know? Where do you meet? Where do you find a girl like that?
She actually walked into my office. She has a lawyer, Scott Felcher, and he knew Jay Brown, who works with me, and they made the introduction. He played him this song, Upon the Replay, which was her first single she had already. And she walked into the office, and I heard the record, and I was really afraid of the record. It was so big that I thought the record would be bigger than her.
Right.
I thought the record, she would be the Upon the Replay girl.
Forever.
Yeah, but I took the meeting anyway. I said, let me just meet her. And
beautiful.
When
girl.
I met her that day, I knew she was a star. Like, just her look, the way she walked into a room and her confidence, and she performed in my office.
And she was, what, 17 years old at that point?
She was 16.
16. And she has the confidence of it. She's like an old soul in a sense, right?
Absolutely.
So she walks in your office, and what, she just belts out a tune?
Belts out a tune, she performs, and I tell her, there's no way out of this office. I signed her that day.
And she's 14 going on 15 years old. Flown over without parental supervision in a private plane by a man who was supposed to be a producer who auditioned her at 3 a.m. in the morning in a hotel room. Auditioning at 3 a.m. in the morning, a 14-year-old girl.
With no parental consent.
Nobody. She was flown to another country. She was taken to Def Jam headquarters. She was left in a conference room alone with Sean Carter for nearly 6 hours alone, with no parental supervision. If people knew how many of these girls are transported around on private planes, how they're able to redact, change names on manifests, she wouldn't have needed parental consent or a passport if she got on a private plane on the manifest listed as someone else. They only worry about the body count. They're not checking IDs at the tarmac. They're trusting whoever's bringing them on is doing everything above board. The only reason Rihanna didn't get passed around was because she belonged to the king. Go back and look at that album cover for Auntie. Why she chose to put a child bride with a crown over her eyes. Blood everywhere. It's a sacrificial lamb. And the crown is over her eyes. So she can't see all the horrible things that are happening around her. It's sad when people are screaming and no one will listen. That album cover ain't a cry for help. I don't know what is.
Well, this leads me to the perfect thing, because I would like you to clear something up. There's a lot of talk going on with Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together. Now, you want to talk about that?
See, I wouldn't use my Twitter to talk about that, because that's somebody else's business.
I know, but you gave them your house.
Yeah. But we're talking about Twitter.
Yeah.
How you use Twitter, and that's something else. I'm just saying I wouldn't really Twitter about that.
Okay, let's not Twitter about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Sure. Let's talk about it, because I think you clearly have a lot of people going, why would you do that? Why would you give Chris, a guy who hit a girl, and he's jet skiing around in your, I don't understand, because, I mean, listen, I was a huge fan of Chris's. I love his music. He's a talented guy, but to hit a girl.
Yeah, because I know both of them, and it's my house, and I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want to give my house to. That's number one. Number two is that I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody. And so if a friend or friends ask me for a favor, then I'm gonna be there for a favor, as long as I know that the energy of the favor is positive for two people to sit down and talk about a situation that they're in. I'm not gonna get involved in it. I'm not gonna pass judgment on it. If I could be there as a friend during hard times, then I'm gonna be there as a friend.
Right.
But I don't know the exact particulars. I didn't get into it. I'm not gonna do this or do that. It's a dark time for them, and I was there more as a support. That was it.
I am strong. this happened to me. I didn't cause this. I didn't do it. This happened to me, and it can happen to anybody. There are a lot of women who've experienced what I did, but not in the public. So it made it really difficult. I just felt like, oh my God, here goes my little bit of privacy, just exposed. Like, it's something that nobody wants anybody to know. So here I am, the whole world knowing. He had no soul in his eyes, just blank. So at that point, I just didn't know what could happen. He was clearly blacked out. There was no person when I looked at him. It's almost as though he had nothing to lose. He has so much to lose. It wasn't the same person that says, I love you. It was not those, it definitely weren't those eyes.
Is that accurate?
I was wrong for what I did. And I would definitely say that it's not something that I look past or look over. It's something that's really, really touchy. And like I said, I'm really sorry for what went down and what happened.
I don't think that it's right for anybody to hit anybody at the end of the day, you know. And I don't think it's right. You know, I think that we all have to be honest with ourselves as adults and people that have been in relationships, you know. We know sometimes those relationships get ugly, you know, and sometimes it doesn't come out into the forefront the way this one has come out. And it's a lot of stones being thrown, and we don't know exactly what's going on. These are two young individuals. We need to pray for them, and we need to give certain support, but you don't need to start just saying that you know something that you don't know. You wasn't in that car. I wasn't in that car, and it isn't right for him to put his hands on her or her to put his hands on him. And we don't know what the problem is, but we need to pray for them, and we need to do things to support them. And that's all I want to say about it.
Let's talk about Rihanna, the diva Rihanna. She's from Barbados?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's Bayesian.
Okay, she's Bayesian. How did you come in contact with her? I mean, did you fly over there?
Jay Brown actually bought me the song. She has a song right now, and it's I wouldn't say massive because of her roots, but she has this outrageous song called Upon the Replay. And he played that song for me, and I was scared. I was like, that song's too big for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, a new artist, when the song is that big, it's you know, it's hard to come back from. And I don't sign songs, I sign artists.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Why don't you break down the difference between that? Because you know, the viewing public might not understand that.
You know, some people chase the hot song for a minute, and then they sign it, you know, based on the song. I want to sign it based on an artist, based on, you know, or based on the swag, or based on the level of talent, based on the writing. You know, so I was a little reluctant when I first heard the song, and then, you know, he kept going. Jay Brown, he kept being persistent. I was like, you know what, bring her by. And when she walked into our office, I was like, you know, she just had, it was just something about her. It was just, she had this, you know, it was just something about her. And then she performed the song, and I was like, okay, okay. Then, you know, we sat down and we talked, and they were talking about how she would stay in the studio and try to get the verse over, and then come back the next day. I was like, oh, work ethic, everything is there. So we signed it that night. We didn't let her leave the office.
Really?
The 3 in the morning was when that contract got signed. So from the meeting around 3, 4 in the afternoon, we signed it by 3 in the morning.
So we just set up a meeting with Jay Z. I met with him.
Were you nervous in the meeting?
What? Nervous is an understatement.
Yeah, sure.
I was a mess.
Sure.
And he just signed you right on the spot.
But the minute I met him, like, the jitters just went. They made me feel so comfortable and welcome and at home. The jitters just went, and I was able to perform for him and audition for him comfortably.
But he was just as taken with you as you were with him, right?
I don't know.
He wouldn't let you out of the office till you signed that contract.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't let us leave, and I felt honored.
P. Diddy is once again the center of attention across social media platforms following the release of a shocking leaked video that captures him in a compromising situation with Cassie. The glare of celebrity often exposes hidden truths, and that's precisely the case here. The most recent to call Diddy out is none other than Ellen DeGeneres. Remarkably, this isn't Ellen's first confrontation with Diddy on these issues. She boldly addressed his conduct during a live interview, Stay tuned as we delve deep into the details. Ellen is about to disclose some startling revelations about Diddy that are sure to make headlines.
Ellen, were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times. Have you been to his parties?
As we all know, footage of Diddy and Cassie has been released, sparking widespread disgust over Diddy's actions. The crux of the matter, however, lies in the eerie parallels between Diddy and Cassie's dynamic, and that of Chris Brown and Rihanna. The latter's relationship was thrust into the limelight, especially after the notorious incident where Chris assaulted Rihanna. Both couples, Chris and Rihanna, as well as Diddy and Cassie, were media darlings whose relationships often dominated headlines. Each case involves allegations of domestic violence that have cast shadows over the careers of these prominent figures. Initially, both relationships started under the watchful eyes of the public, marked by glamorous events and public displays of affection. Yet, behind the glamorous facade, a darker narrative was playing out. Chris Brown and Rihanna's relationship, spanning from 2007 to 2009, seemed tranquil until a shocking incident that horrified the world. Similarly, Diddy and Cassie's decade-long relationship seemed solid and affectionate until disturbing footage surfaced. In both scenarios, both parties have made public responses. For instance, following the recent controversy, Diddy released a video apologizing for his actions.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was f***ed up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for His mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Cassie responded, not with a video, but by issuing a statement after remaining silent for a considerable period. Thank you to all. Thank you for the love and support from my family, friends, strangers, and those I have yet to meet. The outpouring of love has provided a sanctuary for my younger self to find peace and safety. Yet this is merely the start. Violence is the issue. It shattered me into someone I never imagined I could be. With substantial effort, I am better today, but the recovery from my past will be a lifelong process. Thank you to everyone who has taken this issue seriously. My plea is simple. Open your hearts to believe victims the first time. It takes immense courage to speak the truth from a position of powerlessness, and I extend my hand to those still living in fear. Reach out. Don't isolate yourself. No one should bear this burden alone. This journey of healing is perpetual, but your support is invaluable to me. Thank you. With love, Cassie. Similarly, Chris Brown and Rihanna each spoke out about their incident, but they did so in interviews. Rihanna was the first to address the situation, focusing on the events and raising awareness that such incidents can happen to anyone.
I am strong. This happened to me. I didn't cause this. I didn't do it. This happened to me, and it can happen to anybody. There are a lot of women who've experienced what I did, but not in the public. So it made it really difficult. I just felt like, oh my God, here goes my little bit of privacy, just exposed. Like, it's something that nobody wants anybody to know. So here I am, the whole world knowing.
On the other hand, Chris Brown chose to come forward with his own interview following Rihanna's. In this interview, he expressed remorse for his actions, stating how deeply he regretted what had transpired and how sorry he felt for her.
I was wrong for what I did, And I would definitely say that it's not something that I look past or look over. It's something that's really, really touchy. And like I said, I'm really sorry for what went down and what happened.
So as you can see, the two scenarios share striking similarities. But now we reach the part you've all been eagerly anticipating. Ellen's long-standing commitment to exposing and confronting Diddy about his actions. An old interview between Diddy and Ellen has resurfaced and is currently trending across the internet amidst the recent uproar involving Diddy. In this interview, Ellen was forthright, pressing Diddy on why he allowed Chris Brown and Rihanna to stay at his home while their conflict was unfolding. Ellen was relentless, refusing to conclude the conversation until she received a clear answer. We'll let you take a look at it. Well, this leads me to the perfect thing, because I would like you to clear something up. There's a lot of talk about Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together now. You want to talk about that? I wouldn't use my Twitter to talk about that, because that's somebody else's business. I know, but you gave them your house. Yeah, but we're talking about Twitter, how you use Twitter, and that's something else. I'm just saying I wouldn't really tweet about that. Let's not tweet about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, sure, let's talk about it, because I think you clearly have a lot of people wondering why you would do that. Why would you give Chris, a guy who hit a girl, and he's jet skiing around in your... I just don't understand. I was a huge fan of Chris. Love his music. He's a talented guy. But to hit a girl? Because I know both of them, and it's my house, and I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want. That's number one. Number two is that I'm the type of person who doesn't cast a stone or pass judgment on anybody. So if friends ask me for a favor, then I'm going to be there for a favor as long as I know that the energy of the favor is positive for two people to sit down and talk about a situation that they're in. I'm not going to get involved in it. I'm not going to pass judgment on it. If I can be there as a friend during hard times, then I'm going to be there as a friend. This interview is gaining renewed attention because Ellen was ahead of the curve, challenging Diddy on his behavior long before the latest controversy surfaced. Her persistence and boldness in addressing such a sensitive issue are now being praised as people rewatch the clip and see her efforts to hold Diddy accountable. It's clear that Ellen was onto something, and her questions have taken on new significance in light of recent events. And there you have it, everyone. A look at how Ellen's name has been brought into everything happening with Diddy. We've discussed the footage of Diddy's actions towards Cassie and how it mirrors the infamous incident between Chris Brown and Rihanna. These high-profile cases highlight a troubling pattern of violence that transcends fame and fortune, reminding us that no one is immune to such issues. But what do you think about everything? Do you believe Ellen was attempting to expose Diddy back then? Will Ellen speak out about the interview now that it's trending everywhere? How do you think Rihanna feels now that Diddy did the same thing with his girlfriend? Do you think Rihanna has more information about Diddy? Let us know what you think below, because it seems like this situation is never going to stop.